What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be looking at my predictions for UFC Fight Night Dern versus Ribas 2. I'm going to be giving you some breakdowns, who I think is going to win. And yeah, let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into this absolutely abysmal card. First fight of the night, Nurullo Aliyev versus Joe Selecki. I'm going to be going with Nurullo Aliyev to win a 29-28 unanimous decision. I don't know, I just don't rate Selecki that highly. He lost to Jakar Close. His last event was a grappling match. Aliyev, he's from Tajikistan. He's 9-0. Anybody who's undefeated and has a V as the last letter in their name, you got to pick them to win, especially in these type of matchups. But yeah, man, I mean, I think he actually has some decent potential. Aliyev, that is. I don't think, I don't know how far he's actually going to get, but I do think he can beat Joe Selecki at least. So, yeah, let's get on to the next matchup. Don't really have much to say about this one. Fatima Klein versus Victoria Dudakova. I'm going to be going with Fatima Klein to win a 29-28 split decision. She's a minus 800 favorite, which is really odd compared to Dudakova, who's a plus 550 underdog. I'm not too sure what the odds are there. Maybe the odds makers know something we don't. I feel like this fight should be a lot closer than that, though. Um, yeah, I'm still gonna go with Klein though. I almost went with Dudakova after seeing plus 550. That's a wild number right there. That's a big underdog. But I do think Fatima Klein is gonna win. They both have one loss. The only difference is Dudakova's loss is to Sam Hughes, and Fatima Klein's loss is to Jasmine Jasudavicius. Completely different level of opponent in my opinion. So yeah, I just think Klein's better. I just think she's gonna win, and I think the odds should be closer. I think minus 800 is a little bit crazy. As you can see, I put down at the bottom the chance that I think both of them have to win. 55 in favor of Klein, 45 to Dudakova. Maybe the odds makers just know something I don't. No idea. But I also picked split decision because it's a female prelims fight, and they always seem to go split decision for some reason. So I decided to do that. Anyways, let's move on to the next fight. Magomed Gadzhiev versus Bruno Lopez. I'm going to go with Magomed Gadzhiev winning a 30-27 unanimous decision. I think this is going to be the most one-sided fight of the card, as you can see with the 75% to 25%. I don't know, I think this is just going to be a one-sided beatdown. Gadzhiev is going to school him. I want you to look at Bruno Lopez and tell me that that guy's going to be ranked. Like, no, I know light heavyweight is shit, but there's no way Bruno Lopez is going to be ranked at all. And Gadzhiev is undefeated, and his name ends in a V, so you already know he's going to win. Can't really pick against him. That's I don't know. That's kind of my reasoning with these guys. I don't even think Gadzhiev is that good. I don't. I think he'll like. I think he will be ranked because it's light heavyweight, but I don't know. He'll probably be like top 10 at most. But Bruno Lopez will never even sniff like anywhere near the rankings. So gonna go with Gadzhiev on this one. Let's move on to the next fight. Ernesta Karakite versus Nicole Cagliari. I'm going to go with the underdog pick here, man. Nicole Cagliari via 29-28 unanimous decision. I think this is a good underdog pick. They're both young. Cagliari is 28. Karakite's 26. Cagliari has an 8-2 record. Karakite has a 5-1 record. They're pretty similar. I put the odds as 50-50 in my opinion because realistically with these type of fights, you just don't know what's going to happen. You know, two up-and-comers with good records. They're both young. I'm gonna go with the underdog though, man. Nicole Cagliari. I just think she's gonna get it done by unanimous decision. Not much else to say about this fight. Let's move on to the next one. Preston Parsons versus Jacob Smith. I'm gonna be going with Jacob Smith via a first round KO. 70% to 30%. I think this one's going to be pretty one-sided. Jacob Smith looks dangerous, and I just don't think Preston Parsons is very good. He's lost to Oban Elliott in his last fight. I think Oban Elliott's very good, though, so not a bad loss at all. Before that, he beat Matthew Semmelsberger. I don't really rate that one too highly. And then before that, lost to Trevin Giles by split decision. Not a great loss to have. He's also lost to Daniel Rodriguez by KO in the first round. I think if Daniel Rodriguez can KO you in the first round, I feel like a guy like Jacob Smith can also do that to you. I think Jacob Smith is probably a little bit more dangerous than Daniel Rodriguez, I would think. I don't know. The guy looks super dangerous, man. I'm going to be honest with you. He's 9-0, 7 wins by KO. He looks dangerous. I think he can put Preston Parsons to sleep. And yeah, that's my prediction for this fight. Let's move on to the next one. Thiago Moises versus Trey Ogden. I'm going to be picking Thiago Moises by 29-28 unanimous decision. I don't think this fight's going to be too one-sided. I think Ogden is going to have moments, might even steal a round, but I do think Moises is going to get it done. When you really look at his resume, Moises only loses to like good or great fighters. I'm going to be honest. Like, let's go through his resume right now and see who he's lost to. Ludovic Klein, future top 10 guy. Benoit Saint Denis, currently ranked, honestly a solid fighter. Joel Alvarez, future top 5 fighter, maybe even has champ potential. He's super dangerous. Islam Makhachev, literally the best lightweight of all time, current champion. Damir Ismagulov, probably his worst loss, but still not a terrible loss. That's definitely a solid fighter. And then his first loss in the UFC, Beneil Dariush in 2018. Don't make me remind you guys how good Beneil Dariush was back in his prime. The guy 30-27 Mateusz Gamrot not too long ago. Beneil Dariush is really, really good. And honestly, man, like, Thiago Moises has some solid wins. Michael Johnson, Bobby Green, Alexander Hernandez, Melquizael Costa, Mitch Ramirez. He's got some solid wins on his resume, man, and I think Ogden falls right into that category of somebody that Moises can beat. I don't think he's on the level of any of Moises' losses. So, man, that's just why I'm picking Moises. Moises only really loses to like good or great fighters, and I don't think Ogden falls into that category. I think Moises is going to get it done. Let's move on to the next fight now. Marco Tulio versus Ihor Potieria. This is going to be a hot take, man. I'm going to go with Ihor Potieria by first round KO. Call me crazy, man. This is going to be a big underdog pick. And honestly, I think the chances of this happening are pretty low. As you can see, I put Tulio at a 65% chance to win, Potieria at a 35% chance. I think Tulio is more likely to win. But, I'm going to go against the odds here and say Potieria gets like a flash KO or something because I think that'd be really funny. Potieria is not very good. But, we don't know too much about this Marco Tulio guy. And Potieria has had some KOs before in his past. He KO'd Shogun Rua. I know it was like an old out of prime Shogun Rua, but still. The guy has power. He can hit hard. Ihor Potieria does have the ability to knock someone out. And Tulio, he does have one loss, back in some other promotion, I believe, and it was by KO. So the stars might align here, man. We could see an Ihor Potieria KO fraud check. That'd be really funny to see Ihor Potieria fraud check somebody. Definitely not on my 2025 bingo card. But who knows? Have to throw some funny underdog picks out there. This is probably my funniest underdog pick of the card. Ihor Potieria KOing Marco Tulio in the first round. Come back to this video when Ihor Potieria is emoting on Marco Tulio's body after flatlining him. Come back to this video. I'm telling you guys it's going to happen. But yeah, that's my pick for this fight. Let's move on to the next fight. Jose Johnson versus Felipe Bunez. I'm going to pick Jose Johnson via a second round KO. I don't know. I was going to pick Bunez as like an underdog pick, but I feel like you have to be somewhat talented to figure out Jose Johnson. He's a tricky task, man. He's 6 foot with a 71.5-inch reach at flyweight. Even though I don't think Jose Johnson's that good, that's still a tricky frame to deal with at the flyweight division. And I don't know if Felipe Bunez is ready for that. I don't know if he's going to be able to handle it. Jose Johnson, man, he can pick you apart if you're not ready for his frame. He's 2-1. He's 1-2 in the UFC. Lost his debut to Damon Blackshear. That was at bantamweight though. Came down to flyweight, beat Chad Annaliger by rear naked choke. And then his last fight, he lost to Asu Almabayev by decision. Damon Blackshear and Asu Almabayev, his 2 losses in the UFC, those are both good fighters. Asu Almabayev is a promising contender in the flyweight division, and Damon Blackshear is a solid bantamweight. Chad Annaliger, I don't really rate that win too highly, but he did get a finish though, which was nice. But I don't know, I feel like you just have to have like a different level of talent to be able to figure out Jose Johnson. He's a tricky task, man, and I don't think Felipe Bunez is going to be able to do that. Got TKO'd by Joshua Van in his last fight. That's Josh Van. I know he's very good. I'm not taking that away from Felipe Bunez. No shame in losing to Josh Van. He's very skilled. But I don't know, man. I just think Jose Johnson's going to get this one done. I think he's going to get a nice KO and maybe start a new career for himself and start going on a run maybe. Because I think he can give a lot of dudes problems, even though I don't actually think he's that good. Yeah, let's move on to the next fight. Punahele Soriano versus Uros Medic. I'm going to be picking Uros Medic via a second round KO. I don't know. I think Medic is actually a decent up-and-comer at the welterweight division. His only 2 losses are to Maitaibek Oralbai and Jalen Turner. 2 solid fighters. Oralbai has a lot of potential, and Jalen Turner, he's a solid fighter. I know sometimes he looks kind of shit, but when he's at his best, he is very good. And he's got some nice wins, man. Tim Means by KO, Matthew Semmelsberger by KO, Umar Morales by KO, Alan Cruz by KO, and Mikey Gonzalez by KO. All of his wins on the Contender Series and in the UFC, they've all been by KO, man. This guy's got power. He knows how to finish fights, and I think he's going to finish Punahele Soriano, man. I don't think Soriano's that good. I don't really rate him that highly. Submitted by Dustin Stoltzfus, KO'd by Roman Kopylov, lost to Nick Maximov, lost to Brendan Allen. I don't know, man. I think Medic is going to have a field day in there with them. I think he's going to get a nice KO. And yeah, man, that's my prediction for this fight. Let's move on to the next fight. Christian Rodriguez versus Austin Boshi. I'm going to be going with Austin Boshi via a second round submission. I almost went with Christian Rodriguez because I'm going to tell you why. This fight reminded me of the Raul Rosas Jr. fight where, Rosas Jr. was the young up-and-coming guy. A lot of people picked him to beat Rodriguez. Rodriguez came in there, fraud checked him a little bit, kind of, showed him levels and beat Raul Rosas Jr. But I think, that was a young and experienced Raul Rosas Jr. I think Boschi's coming in here with more experience than Rosas had. He's a little older than Rosas was. I think he's more well-rounded than Rosas was. And I just don't know if Rodriguez is going to be able to handle this, man. His grappling looks super good. Boschi's coming off a really, really nice rear naked choke finish over Dorian Ramos on the Contender Series. And Rodriguez in his last fight, he got guillotined in the first round by Julian Erosa. So, getting submitted in your last fight, and now you're going against a submission specialist, I don't think it's going to end well for Christian Rodriguez, man. I think Boschi's going to latch up a rear naked choke or some type of submission. His grappling looks great. He looks dangerous on the ground, and I think he's going to beat Rodriguez, man. I did put the chances to win pretty close because it's still Christian Rodriguez, man. That Raul Rosas Jr. fight is still living rent free in my head. I could definitely see him doing something like that, but I think Boschi's going to get this one done. I think it's going to be a good fight, though, man. Good grappling exchanges. Yeah, let's move on to the next fight. The moment you've all been waiting for, Chris Curtis versus Roman Kopylov, the best fight on the card by far. The fact that this is the second fight up on the main card, not even the featured fight, is kind of wild. I think this should be the co-main event, I'm going to be honest, but yeah, man, I'm going to be picking Roman Kopylov via a 29-28 decision. This is a sick fight. I think it's going to be back and forth. I think they're both going to have moments. I think they're both going to hurt each other. But I don't know. I just think Kopylov's going to have the speed advantage, the range advantage, and I think he's going to be more well-rounded on the feet. He's going to be utilizing the kicks more. The distance management is going to look clean. I don't know, man. Curtis tends to freeze up. Dude, I'm not going to lie. I think Curtis is going to freeze up in moments and allow Kopylov to kind of just pull ahead, on the striking numbers. And, another thing, Brendan Allen looked good in the boxing against Chris Curtis, man. Like, his defense is a little bit questionable at times. I think, you don't want to have bad defense against a guy like Roman Kopylov, man, because he can light you up, man. This guy's dangerous, and he's very skilled on the feet. The way I see Chris Curtis winning is if he pushes, like, a heavy pace, gasses Kopylov out, and gets, like, a late round TKO in, like, the third round or something, but I think Kopylov's going to be able to survive. I know Chris Curtis has power, but Kopylov should be able to survive here, and I think he'll win the first two rounds pretty comfortably just by being faster, better distance management, more dynamic in the striking. Curtis is going to freeze up. Kopylov's going to take advantage of that, land a bunch of strikes in those moments. The Brendan Allen fight, man, there's a lot of holes in Chris Curtis's boxing game, man. I'm not going to lie. Offensively, he's great. Defensively, he could definitely use some work. But, like, yeah, man, I just think Roman Kopylov is going to win. I think if you put Roman Kopylov and Brendan Allen in the ring, I think Roman Kopylov probably finishes Brendan Allen on the feet. You could maybe argue a Brendan Allen submission. I don't know. That's a whole nother topic for, something else. But, I don't know, Roman Kopylov, just a better striker. I don't think he's going to be able to take Chris Curtis down, which is where Chris Curtis could have some success. If Chris Curtis pushes a heavy pace and, hurts Kopylov at any point, and, starts, like, rocking him up maybe, maybe he's just outboxes Roman Kopylov. It hurts him a bunch. Kopylov's going to be trying to shoot takedowns, man, and I don't think Kopylov's getting Chris Curtis down. Chris Curtis has brick wall takedown defense, so I think Chris Curtis has to, push a pace, has to try and hurt Kopylov early, try to get him rocked, make him shoot takedowns, because Curtis is defending all of those takedowns, but I don't think that's how it's going to happen. I think Kopylov's going to survive. Great distance management. He's fast, and I just think he's going to get the win here, man. Let's move on to the next fight. Cesar Almeida versus Abdul Razak Al Hassan. I'm going to be picking Cesar Almeida via a 30-27 unanimous decision. I don't think Cesar Almeida is, like, that good. I mean, I think he's solid, but I don't think he's, like, amazing or nothing. But I do think he'll be able to beat a guy like Abdul Razak Al Hassan. Cesar Almeida's only loss so far in the UFC has been to Roman Kopylov via split decision. That's a good look, man. Going to a split decision with Roman Kopylov, that's a good look. I'm pretty sure all of Roman Kopylov's other fights in the UFC have been by KO, so, good on Cesar Almeida. He's given Roman Kopylov his toughest fight so far. And in his last fight against Ihor Potieria, he didn't look like the best, but he looked pretty good, man. He beat up Potieria. Potieria didn't really have any moments, I'm not going to lie. And yeah, man, Cesar Almeida just looks good, but I don't think he's that good, man. I feel like a lot of people are kind of just riding the hype train that he has a win over Alex Pereira in kickboxing, but you can clearly tell he hasn't translated as well to MMA as Pereira has. But I do think he'll be able to get past Abdul Razak Al Hassan. I don't really rate Al Hassan that highly, I'm not even going to lie to you. The guy got subbed by Joe Pyfer, for fuck's sakes. I honestly don't know how to feel about that. But yeah, man, I think Cesar Almeida is going to win pretty comfortably. 30-27, I'm piece him up on the feet. Maybe Al Hassan has like one or two good moments, but yeah, I got to go with Cesar Almeida here, man. Let's move on to the next fight. Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Carlston Harris. I'm going to go with another underdog pick here, man. Carlston Harris via a 29-28 unanimous decision. He's only like a slight underdog. The odds are very close. I think Ponzinibbio is a minus 140 favorite, and Harris is a plus 115 underdog. So very close odds, very even. I do agree with Ponzinibbio being the favorite, so that's why I have his chance to win as 5% higher. But I'm going to go against the odds here, man. I'm going to say Carlston Harris gets it done by decision. I know Ponzinibbio has a lot of power, and Carlston Harris, just got flatlined in his last fight by Chaos Williams, and a couple fights before that got KO'd by Shavkat Rakhmonov. But I don't know, man. Ponzinibbio hasn't been looking as dangerous recently. He lost a split decision to Muslim Salikov. Before that, got KO'd by Kevin Holland. Before that, he finished Alex Morono, so decently impressive. Before that, lost a split decision to Mikel Pajeda, and before that, lost a split decision to Jeff Neal. So he's 4-1 in his last five. Hasn't been looking too active. Hasn't been looking too dangerous. Um, I don't know, man. Something tells me Ponzinibbio is just going on a big downhill, man. And I don't know if I don't know if he's going to be able to get the finish over Carlston Harris. I think Harris is going to be able to survive. I don't think Santiago Ponzinibbio is as dangerous as Chaos Williams or Shavkat Rakhmonov. So yeah, I think Harris is going to survive, man. I don't know, but like Harris is old though, so that's why I'm kind of like flip flopping on this one, man. I don't actually know who I'm gonna go with. I think I'm gonna stick with Harris though. I do think he is going to beat Santiago Ponzinibbio. I just think Ponzinibbio is on a downhill. He hasn't been looking great recently. Hasn't been active, and I don't know, man. I just think this is a good underdog pick. I'm gonna go with Carlston Harris here. Let's move on to the main event next. Mackenzie Dern versus Amanda Ribas 2. This is the rematch. Amanda Ribas won the first time, and I think she's gonna win the second time as well. I don't know, Mackenzie Dern, you just can't pick her against like a solid striker because like she sucks on the feet and she's good at grappling, but she tends to just not use her grappling. I think she is going to use it a lot more in this fight though. She got 30-27 by Amanda Ribas in the first fight. But yeah, man, I think it's going to be a lot closer this time. Dern is probably going to grapple and wrestle a lot more, but I still think she's going to be a little too stubborn and strike too much with Amanda Ribas, which is going to lead to a 48-47 unanimous decision victory for Amanda Ribas, in my opinion. I do have the chances pretty close for both. I think Ribas is 5% more likely to win. I don't know. Dern, she can grapple, but I don't think she's going to grapple too much in this fight. I think she's going to try and strike. She's going to try and have an ego on the feet, and she sucks at striking. Her boxing is absolutely abysmal. It's like she's never actually taken a striking class in her life. And I think Amanda Ribas is going to be able to pick her apart and just win the rounds based off being the better striker. And Dern just doesn't want to grapple. So yeah, I'm going with Amanda Ribas. Let me know what you guys think about my predictions. Let me know your guys' predictions down in the comments. And yeah, man, hope you guys enjoyed this video. See you guys in the next one. Peace.